to entry criteria, where I'm going to cover some very recent price action on EU and go through, first of all, clearly our 4-hour directional bias and momentum, and nailing down to any possible entries that are valid, that meet the rules, win or lose, there are both in there, and things like what's an external range sweep, what's an internal range sweep, what invalidates a trade idea, etc, etc. So, a valid entry must do certain things. So it must sweep and tag inside the correct portion of premium and discount. So when we've set our 4-hour range, for example, if we have a bearish follow through, we want to be selling in premium, right? So that means that the sweep and the entry of that trade must also happen in premium. We can't have a sweep in discount and entry in premium and vice versa. We want them both to happen in that same zone. Also, we want our trades to tag inside our kill zone. Same thing, we want the sweep and the tag both inside kill zone, not a sweep before and an entry during, or a sweep during and an entry afterwards. I mean, you can factor that in, that's up to you, use your own data, but it's better and higher probability if you have both in the same kill zone. It must be well priced. Go watch the well priced theories video if you've not already done that. This should be one of the last videos for you to watch. So that is a 5% portion in the middle of the EQ of a 4-hour range where price tends to accumulate and you can get tagged in, tagged out very quickly. And it's filter out those lower probability trades. And lastly, you want to be able to achieve the desired TP of that trade, whether it's a strong follow through minimum 2-to-1 or a follow through or no follow through 3-to-1 before the range high or low. Now let's go over some chart examples. I'm going to go over EU, very recent price action. I'm recording this video now the 1st of August. I'm going to go through the last week in June and the entire July. So let's have a look. So first of all, because this could end up being a very long video, basically going through around 6 weeks of data, I've already marked out our highs and lows, our 4-hour ranges, and our interactions for our directional bias. This is an entries video, but we can't ignore that 90% of the work's done on the 4-hour. So that has to become part of the video, right? So let's start over here. So around the Thursday, the 22nd of June is where I've started. Now, the first thing, if you've watched the videos in the right order to now, again, this entries video should be one of the last videos along with the putting it all together video you should be watching if you're here before seeing the momentum filter and plotting the 4-hour highs and lows, 4-hour ranges. You need to go and watch that. Pause this right now and go and watch the other ones first, then come back to this. It will make more sense. Don't try and cut corners. So we can see the dots showing our momentum, our highs and lows, which dictate for us if we're creating higher highs and higher lows, we're in a bullish market. We've got bullish momentum. And as the video explained, we want 2 higher highs to confirm a bullish momentum or 2 lower lows, like here, to confirm bearish momentum. Because we don't know exactly how long that trend is going to last, right? That momentum is going to last. And also we don't have power over controlling the market. So we basically have built these rules to help us stay on the right side of the market as much as possible. And using these highs and lows, these dots, as a 4-hour momentum filter to filter out the unnecessary and lower probability counterplay moves. And it will make sense as I run through this. So let me zoom into this first of all. Coming from a place of bullish momentum, we can see we've had the confirmation with the 2 higher highs first of all, and it's creating higher lows as well. And it went on to create like 5 higher highs and 4 higher lows. So what we're anticipating is that this is going to just continue. And it does, but obviously it shifts to the downside first. That's why we have the rules in place, right? But the last thing that happens before it goes bearish, and we'll go through this, is it creates actually a NFT, a no follow through initially. We get an unconfirmed bearish candle and then a bullish candle. So we do get NFT first. So I'm just going to filter that as NFT, then becomes FT. When does it become FT? This third candle here, right? Because it's a bearish close below, not this low. It's not, doesn't have to be consecutive, but a close below that range low, that fractal low there. So as momentum is to the upside, and the assumption that price is going to continue with that momentum, we are not looking for counter NFT sells in premium, right? Because remember we had NFT initially. As soon as, and it doesn't get to that point anyway, so that's fine. As soon as we get this bearish close here and it becomes follow through, that's our directional bias. And if we are looking for pro-directional bias based on the interactions, we can trade that. Okay, we're going against potential momentum, but our directional bias being on the pro side of directional bias is that theory of itself. That gives us the direction we want to trade in. Of course, it's not going to be right all of the time, and nothing is foolproof. Even the big boys that pump in millions of dollars every day don't get it right all the time. But what we're looking at here is initially NFT. Okay, we can look for buys straight away because 1, we are bullish, and 2, we're following that directional bias as no follow through to the upside. Now the other thing to factor in here is, okay, we need to remember that this was NFT initially, and then it becomes FT after this bearish candle in here. So we're just going to take a kind of a psychological note here that we're happy to take buys after the confirmation of this 2 p.m. candle because we had NFT, and also because with momentum is to the upside, once this becomes follow through, we are happy in this scenario to take a counter follow through move because it's bearish follow through which sells from premium, right? And we'll take that because that is directional bias. But for counter, we want momentum on our side. Momentum is still to the upside. Just because we've created one lower low doesn't mean anything. That could be a liquidity sweep to take price higher. We haven't got that second lower low yet. We're on the assumption that this is going to continue the momentum to the upside. So NFT pro buys, yes, we'll take that. Once it becomes FT, okay, we're happy to take counter FT buys as well. And also when it gets into premium, that's pro move for FT bearish, we're going to look for sells. Watch that again if that doesn't make too much sense. A lot of information in there. So I'm going to go down to the 15 minute. And we're going to find this. Here we go. So initially NFT, when we get a 2 p.m. close, and I think I'm going to have to use my bar replay to get these sessions in there. So let's just do that. There we go, we've got our sessions back now, we can see that. Now, where's 2 p.m.? 2 p.m. is here, right? Now we've got confirmed no follow through, that's that pullback. So we're looking for buys anyway because that's pro-directional bias and pro-momentum bullish, remember? So we're looking for buys in that scenario. We've got New York kill zone, not doing anything in London, it's unconfirmed at that point when it pushes lower. And we get a sweep of this fractal. Now where's our range? You can see that I've already drawn this in. It's a large range. Why is this the range? Because we've got this most recent high, and then it was this low, didn't create a new high, and then we're down here. So that would have been our 15-minute external range. So hence why there's a line in here, that is an internal range liquidity sweep. It's the most recent when price pulls back to here. It's the only recent low. We're looking for buys anyway. And the stop loss is bang on 20 pips, which is the maximum what we would recommend for EU. So if that was 21, you'd be on the fence. If you wanted to be really disciplined, you'd say, no, it's over 20 pips and not taking it. And the RR tool is quite large in comparison to what you would usually like. You'd probably want around 10 pips average on EU. But look how large the 4-hour range is. So it's absolutely valid from that point of view. Does that go on and hit TP? Let's have a look. Yes, it does. That's why we're not using the break-even method. You would have been tagged out for break-even, probably multiple times if you did that. Got to trust that strategy. It's only a 1 to 3. And you want to trust in your strike rate being about 40% or above, ideally, if you're getting it right. And with things like the momentum filter, you're going to be around the 45-55% mark strike rate. So then what do we have? We have then follow through. We have FT, remember, after that. So because momentum is to the upside bullish, we can counter bearish FT. That's why we take this second buy in here. This one loses, by the way. I'm going to show you both winners and losers. So where's our 15-minute range? We're still inside it. So again, it's an internal most recent fractal sweeps. London, it's well priced. We're away from this red zone, there's no trade zone. We get a most recent internal fractal sweep, tags in, tags out, -1. Okay, so we're 2% up for that week so far. That's cool. So overnight, our range comes higher. Now, remember what our directional bias is. Momentum's to the upside, but our directional bias at this point is follow through bearish. And we're always going to trade pro directional bias. Okay, we're going to trust in that. So we're in premium, we've had follow through bearish, we're looking for sells. Now our 15-minute range is nice and tight. It breaks out of this large range, becomes tighter. And during New York, we get a nice external fractal range sweep. Initially this candle, and then an extended sweep on this one. So for an extended sweep, it must produce consecutive higher highs for sells or lower lows for buys. If this contained a inside bar or a lower high before this higher high, then that would invalidate that external sweep. Similarly, if this initial candle swept and then tagged us in, we would be in that trade. Okay, so don't get me wrong, I would have had an order here and then an alert on the high to say that trade's now invalid. So it would have made that initial range sweep trade invalid without tagging in. You remove that order, you wait 15 minutes or however long you've got left until this candle forms. You'd wait to see, okay, can I get a decent stop loss size under 20 pips? Yes, it's 9. Can I get a 3-to-1? Yes, I can. Is it valid? Absolutely. Is it well priced? Yes, it is. And so that's a nice 3-to-1. So what are we now? 3 trades and we're up 5%. So I'm going to keep going through. If there are no trades on here, it's because there are no trades. There are no valid trades, right? I'm not going to go over, this could be a 3-hour marathon of a video. So what happens next? We can see we get a 4-hour breach down here. So let's go back to the 4-hour. So we had this, we had 2 buys, 1 win, 1 loss. We got up here, we had a sell, a win, and we've pushed all the way down here, no more valid trades, and it breaches the low. Unconfirmed first, then we get confirmed NFT. But what do we get in the process? Remember, this is our first lower low. But it could be a liquidity sweep, so we're still buying. But this is our second lower low. So we've now confirmed bearish momentum, although we've got bullish directional bias. So what does this mean? It means that we can buy pro move, pro directional bias, NFT, absolutely we can buy that. But it also means I'm happy to counter NFT in premium because our momentum has now shifted to the downside. That's the filter. If we had not created a lower low and we had no follow through, I would only be buying. I wouldn't be looking for counter NFT at that stage. So let's just go down to the 15-minute. Have a look to see if there are any opportunities. So we get NFT here and no opportunities, and it goes and it creates a new NFT to the downside. It breaches the low very soon. So there's no opportunities in there, okay? Not always going to get opportunity. During this period, there's something like 11 trades over, what, 6 weeks? And what's that, like less than 2 trades a week, right? So there's not a lot. And that's good. That's one pair, right? You want freedom to go and do other things. You want the freedom, ignore that. You want the freedom to be able to work and do other things and not stress about sitting at the charts. So we get no follow through again. We create a new lower low. So we've got a 3rd lower low now. So we're still bearish in terms of momentum, but we have a directional bias of no follow through. So we can look for buys. It also means when it goes back into premium, we can counter and look for sells because we're producing lower highs and lower lows. So let's have a look in here. I'm just going to put an arrow in here to say this is the area we're looking at. Okay, we can see that now. There's the NFT. Now you see here, we have sweep of a fractal here. Where would our 15-minute range be? It would have been previously here. So actually that would be our 15-minute range also. So an external 15-minute range sweep. It's well priced. 11, so 13 pips minimum on this for EU. Can we get a 3-to-1 before the high? We can, but it doesn't tag. It produces eventually a lower low. So again, if you've got an alert on the low of this candle after you've put your entry on, you want to say invalidated trade. And if you're not tagged in, you remove the order. But it's not an extended sweep because the next candle does not produce a lower low. So there's no trade there. That's why there's no trade there, right? What do we get next? We get another breach. We get another NFT. So let's put an arrow there. Again, another lower low, another NFT right here. That's the initial one. We get another one, wick straight away. We're looking for buys, but we're looking for buys in discount. You can see there's wicks and closes in premium. But again, because momentum's to the downside, it's bearish, we can look for sells in premium. So let's go and have a look at the 15 minute. Do we get anything set up? Let's just play this forward. This is overnight over Asia. Nothing sets up. There's a sweep, but it happened before London. Outside of kill zone there, we're not looking for buys. And then this candle goes and takes liquidity very quickly. Large candle takes the range high at the same time, and then we get unconfirmed bias initially. So there's no trades in there. Let's follow this on and see what happens next. Right, now we get our first high. Even before that is a fractal, right? Because it's higher than this previous lower high. When it's one, again, go watch the momentum filter video. This could easily be a liquidity grab. This could easily do this, right? Lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, higher high, and then lower low. And that happens at the end of July. But we can play this, right? Let's have a look in terms of our rules. What are we interested in? So market momentum for now, until we get confirmation, is still bearish. We have strong follow through, bullish, which is our pro-directional bias. So regardless of the fact that momentum so far has been bearish, we are pro-directional bias. We can look for buys anywhere, right? Because it's strong follow through. So we will look for buys anywhere. Let's just play this forward to make sure we can see what happens. So we're going off of this strong follow through. Stick an arrow in here. We know that it continues higher, but we'll get there when the time comes. So before this new interaction, this is the new high, but it's only one of them. Market momentum is still bearish, but we are pro-directional bias. We get bullish, strong follow through. Not follow through. Where's our 15-minute range? So our 15-minute range actually is right over here. And I'll explain why. So fractal low, fractal high. Pull this all the way over. It does not get breached until over here. So in fact, this trade here, that's the low, is an internal. Most recent fractal low gets taken inside New York. We would have an order on this. The lows would have been, your alerts would have been hit, remove the order. Lower low, extended sweep, place your order, takes the low, your alert goes off, remove the order, no tag, creates a lower low, another extended sweep. Okay, place the order again. Same thing, I'm repeat and repeat and repeat until two things. You either get a lower low outside of kill zone, you're no longer taking that, or what would be the other scenario that it basically takes you in, takes you out for a loss. And we're just following the strike rate based on each directional bias, okay? So this, we want a minimum 2-to-1 before the fractal high, which is here. We do have a fractal high formed on the 4 hour, but we can get a 3-to-1 in there. There's still room. And we get a 3-to-1. So what are we, 5, 6, 7, 8% up now so far. Trading very little, right? Now, we can also take sells, but there aren't any sells. This sweeps here, but outside of session. And then before this does anything, we're taking the highs and we have a new interaction with the high. When we get that next interaction with the high, what does it do? It gives us our second higher high. So now our momentum has shifted. First higher high was still bearish momentum. Second higher high confirms now not only our directional bias, strong follow through is bullish, but also our momentum to the upside is bullish. So we're not taking any counter sells in any scenario unless we get NFT bearish. So then we get this second push, we get another strong follow through. So let's have a look in this one. So this is overnight anyway. And then as it pulls lower, we can see here, this is actually our 15-minute range. Range gets swept, you place an order on, doesn't get tagged, creates a lower low outside of session, remove the order, no tag, no trade. That's why there's nothing there, right? It's not valid. And then we're creating a new, let's have a look, we've got a new range here, and the sweep before New York, and there's no sweep inside New York, okay? We're not selling, we're not counter strong follow through. Why? Because now momentum's to the upside. So no counter strong follow through in this. The momentum filter takes away that risk, and it goes and takes the high over Asia. So we come back to the 4 hour. Momentum and bias is to the upside. What we get now? We get follow through. So here is where that range just expands. We get a new low here. This is our range. Now with follow through, bullish, we're only looking for buys in discount. Price is just taken off and it actually doesn't come back to discount. We're not counter follow through. This is where a lot of people would have taken counter sells. Probably maybe some down here as well. There's definitely some losses in here in terms of counter plays that happened in live markets around the 13th, 14th of July. But the 4 hour momentum filter takes that away. You're not interested. We've got a bullish momentum. We're not counter trading anything. We're pro directional bias only. So as we play forwards, that's our range high up here. And the range gets smaller because it creates a new range low and high. And then that's why I deleted that initially, because that is our new range. So a very tight range up here. What happens next? Momentum still to the upside. We've already marked on here because it would take me hours to draw them all on. I want to get as much in as possible. So we get NFT bearish. So it's a directional bias for sells. We can do that. Momentum's to the upside, but a directional bias is saying sells. So let's go to the 15 minute. Did we get anything? If there's nothing on the chart, then there's nothing there, right? So ignore that. That's unconfirmed at that point. Let's just follow through. We get an interaction here. NFT is from 10 AM. And it's a very tight range. I'm playing that forwards, and there's nothing, right? We get NFT to the downside pretty much soon after we get NFT to the upside. So what are we doing in that scenario? NFT to the downside. So bullish directional bias, bullish momentum, we're looking for buys, but it closes in premium. So you're unlikely to get a position there, right? Are we going to take counter NFT shorts? No. Why? Because momentum's to the upside. So we're not looking for counter NFTs. What happens next? Goes and takes the highs. Why? Because with momentum's to the upside. How does it close? Unconfirmed, and then no follow through. So we can look for sells because our directional bias has confirmed that. We can see there's no draw tools on here because there's no opportunities outside of session. This was news. Yes, it's a liquidity sweep. Yes, it's a valid sweep, but the candle's massive. You wouldn't get a 3-to-1 to the low. You wouldn't be well priced, so there's no trade. And we wait for the next day, right? Back to the 4 hour. We're waiting for the next day. We can see what happens. Now here's our most recent higher low and higher high. You can see at some point it shifts. We're still bullish at this point. We get another NFT to the downside. So we are bullish. Right. So this is the current range that we're playing. This is the next one. Where's our 15-minute range? It's here because it was here. It creates a high, and then breaks the low before session. There's no buys here because that is the NFT forming on the 4 hour. That V shape there is the wick on the 4 hour. We get a new fractal low form. Inside session. Sweeps the low. You want a minimum 1 pip sweep. We get bang on 1 pip sweep, so it's valid. Tags in, tags out. We get a -1. What are we now, like +7? We'll add it at the end. We take losses, right? And we breach the lows again. So it's no longer no follow through. It's now unconfirmed. So we get a new range here. We've now got a bullish close. So we're now confirmed follow through again. So we can look for buys. Back to the 15-minute. What is it? Asia session, overnight, not looking for trades. Nothing there. We wait. We come back to the 4 hour, go to bed. We wake up the next day. And what are we waiting for? Now we've got the first lower low here. So remember, the first one could be a liquidity grab. We're still bullish in momentum, and we are still, at this point, bullish in terms of bias. The next one is unconfirmed, and the second one after that creates a new interaction. And at this stage is unconfirmed. So I'm going to play it forward one more time. Then we get NFT here, so we can look for, you could look for potential buys with NFT, right? But what have we done? First of all, we breached the most recent higher low. We have a new lower low here, and when that breaches, we get our second lower low. So although we do get NFT for buys because we get bullish and then bearish, you've got to factor in that momentum, which has lower low in here. But we can look at still directional bias. When it's no follow through, let's have a look. What is in New York? So this is over Asia again. So it probably just creates a bearish candle, which is why I have, let's have a look before London. What happens? There you go. So London closes around 10 a.m. and it gives us our follow through. So now we've got two lower lows. At that stage, it's here, right? So momentum is bearish. Directional bias is bearish. It's follow through. So we want to wait for premium pricing. So we'd be waiting for this price to come up here. So we're not looking to buy anymore because we follow through. And we're not looking to counter follow through because momentum's to the downside. So let's play that forwards. Takes the low. What do we get? A wick, NFT, another wick, NFT. That closes above, still NFT. Directional bias is bullish. Let's play this forward until we get an interaction. Let's just see if there are any buys in there. What is it? Overnight. Asia again. So we're not trading then anyway. We're asleep in the UK. We get a new interaction here. That's why I moved this to here. We get a new lower high. We've got two lower highs now. And we've got 1, 2, 3 lower lows. So it's just continuing that bearish momentum. Third lower low, second lower high. Now, what do we get here? Unconfirmed. And you'll notice that I put no follow through. So we're looking for buys at that point. And then after that, we get the second bearish candle. So it becomes follow through. So yeah, we're looking for buys. Is there anything in there for buys? Yes, there is. Buyers in discount following pro-directional bias. Yes, it's against momentum, but when we're pro-directional bias, we will look for that. We get a -1 in there. What is this? So if we look, that's the 15-minute range, quite a large range. So this is the most recent internal fractal sweep inside New York. It's over a pip sweep. And yeah, just to tag in. Okay, it gets to like 2%. So if you had 2% target, you'd make money. But I wouldn't. And that'd just be a valid loss. So what we like +6%, again, we'll tally up at the end. Don't worry on any individual day. You can see that I'm not bothered. Any day, week, we just wait to the end of the month. Even a month in the grand scheme of things isn't really all that important in terms of consistency. But we want to gauge a minimum monthly profit, monthly strike rate, right? It breaches the low. There's no more opportunities in there. This then creates follow through. So that's now follow through bias. Let's play this forwards. Get a new interaction here. Initially is no follow through, then it becomes follow through again. So do we get anything in here? No follow throughs over Asia, and then we get unconfirmed during London. During New York, we've got follow through to the downside, also bearish momentum, which means we're not counter follow through buying, not interested in that. And we're in our no trade zone. It's not well priced. We want to wait for price to come into premium before we sell. So back to our 4 hour. Play this forward. What do we get? Price comes into premium. So we are looking for sells at this point. Do we get any opportunity to sell before it breaches the high? Yes, we do. And I remember this is last week. This is me recording this video. This trade was last week. I remember this. I was actually at a spa retreat, so I didn't take this trade. But I would absolutely, 10 times out of 10, would take this. Why? Because we've got pro-directional biases follow through to the downside from here, right? Ignore that range. We had no follow through, then follow through. So pro-directional bias bearish. We want to be selling in premium. We come into premium, we're well priced. We've also got lower lows and lower highs, so momentum is to the downside. This is just probabilities playing out, right? So, London session, we do get a sweep of the highs in here, you can see. This would have been a range sweep. Sell stop underneath here, takes the high. 1, invalidates the trade because it doesn't tag you in, takes the high. 2, it's outside of kill zones, there's no trade in there. Shouldn't have taken any losses in there at all. Then what happens? Our 15-minute range at that point entering New York was here. Sweeps the external range before kill zone. So now our range is here. So we're internal of this range. We get a most recent fractal high sweep. We get a 12 pip stop loss. It's not taking up the entire range. The candle size is nice. It's not too large. We get a 3-to-1 way before the lows. This is an A+ setting. I remember putting this in the EU channel. I wasn't even at my charts. I think I was on a bike ride in the countryside somewhere, and I put that was an A+ trade because I remember Tom sending it to me saying, look how amazing this trade was. It just probabilities didn't play out. And again, I'm not showing you all wins. There's losses in here as well. We'll have a look at the strike rate at the end. But this is great. This is a really good trade. Absolutely valid. I'd be happy taking that time and time again. Then when it goes and takes on the high, what happens next? So, most recent lower high, most recent lower low. We actually get a 4th lower low in here. So, initially, no follow through. We get a wick. Then we get a bullish candle. So, still no follow through, still wick at that point. Then we get unconfirmed. And then we get a second bullish candle, which is follow through. Right, so what are we doing now? We're waiting for price to pull into discount of this current small range from here to where our price is now. I think it pushes a little bit higher. Okay, and the next candle, it literally takes out that buy straight away. So if you were looking for buys in discount, it would have just tanked straight through. Let's have a look on the 15-minute. There's no opportunity to buy. It just goes and takes the 4-hour lows, and it gives us a new buy straight away. So we get no follow through initially because it closes as a wick. Let's play this forward. Then we get unconfirmed. And then we get follow through. So at that point, you shift your bias to follow through. So now again, we get a higher high, but it's only one off. So we've still got bearish market momentum. We need 2 higher highs to change our minds on that. Consecutive lower lows. We've also got a bearish directional bias. So because of the momentum to the downside, we're not counter follow through. We're not looking for buys here. So if we play this forward, we're only waiting for price to come into premium, looking for sells. And at this stage, 1st of August, me filming this, we're sat in discount. I can play this right forward. This is real time right now. You can see the clock ticking. So we would be waiting now in this live scenario for price to come up into here, give us our entry model, external, internal, and extended sweeps, looking for shorts, anticipating that this would be a new and a 5th lower low. So we've got some really good examples there. Let's have a look at where we were in terms of results. So we started on the 22nd of June, which is here. And I've actually got the stats written down here so I don't get this wrong. So we got 1 win, 1 loss, another win. 1 loss, another win. We've got 2 wins here. We got a win here. Nothing for a while, then a loss, and a loss, and a loss, and then nothing else, right? So actually, during all of that, we get 11 trades, 6 are wins, 5 are losses, so that's nearly a 55% strike rate, and a overall gain of 13% with a max drawdown of 3%. A lot of that is filtering from momentum. There was definitely some counter trend trades in there, or counter directional bias that would have lost. So you would have taken an unusual amount of losses, maybe something like 7, 8, maybe even 10 losses, just taking everything. But you don't want to go in blind. That's why using that 4-hour momentum filter, those higher highs and those lower lows, that will stop you from taking those less than higher probability trades. Any questions, use the questions channels or send me a DM and I'll see you on the next one.